Thank you, Lasker Hira. Can I at the outset welcome my very good friend and party colleague, Minister Brophy, to the House, and say that I do know from internal meetings and from being on my membership of the Foreign Affairs Committee that Minister Brophy is very proactive on all issues and is making a real impact in that ministry. So it's a great pleasure to have you here, Minister, today. If I might just pick up on where my good friend and colleague Senator Martin finished off, and just to put the record straight in relation to our involvement at UN level. That's not to object to his full thesis that we should use the UN to the maximum degree in our presidency of it. But just to say to you, Ireland joined a cross-regional statement on human rights in China at the 3rd Committee of the UN General Assembly on Thursday, the 21st of October. It calls on China to allow immediate, meaningful and unfettered access to Wenyang for independent observers, including the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. The statement also expressed concern about the fundamental freedoms, political pluralism and democratic rights in Hong Kong arising from the introduction of the National Security Law. In line with the EU Council conclusions, Ireland suspended its extradition agreement with Hong Kong in October 2020. So I suppose the point I'm making is Senator Martin is fundamentally correct. Of course we should use every international body to unambiguously pursue human rights, and specifically in China in this instance. And there can be no ambiguity. Ireland has great credentials in this area. We have great moral authority in this area. We're highly respected, and no matter what forum we're in, and very particularly the UN with the presidency, that should be pursued. But I just did want to put it on record that we are doing what we can. And unfortunately, we can make these moral arguments, we can pass these motions, and they're important, but our degree to which we can actually achieve implementation is somewhat fettered. But we have to do our best and keep at it, but we are doing that. There's no point in avoiding just a reference before I get on to the substantive things around the human rights, that there is a positive trading relationship with China of 24 billion. We do have 6,000 Irish citizens in Hong Kong, 1,000 in Shanghai, and 600 in Beijing. And these are important relationships, and the ones that you'd like to think would grow. But no matter what our positive relation, and unless one acknowledge that, there's a few points I want to get made. First of all, in relation, take it part by part, and the basic thesis, of course, that the authoritarian regime should not be becoming more authoritarian, should have a human rights approach, stands. But to take Taiwan for a start, the sabre rattling and the threats to Taiwan cannot be supported, and under any conditions. We have Taiwan representatives of very high quality here in Dublin, and I think this Parliament must unambiguously say that Taiwan has to have its self-government, its self-administration, and its right to self-determination there, in the sense that it has it currently, and there should be no threat to the existence of Taiwan or its future. And we do have $1 billion worth of trade with Taiwan too, which is not insignificant. Now, to move, the Taiwanese question is very big, and it's in latter times that there's a kind of an implicit threat to Taiwan, or causing an insecurity there, and that we have to be unambiguously opposed to. Can I move from Taiwan to the question, and tragically, it's the question on everyone's lips, and the one we give so much thought to now, is the question of the Uyghur Muslims. And what we know is horrific, and what we don't know is quite scary. If we know the level of what we do know, and we're aware of the abuses and aware of the use of electronic devices, etc., and the concentration camps and the re-education camps, we know that much. But what do we not know, and how comparable to the Second World War this may be? And it's a human tragedy, and observers should be let in, and that should be dealt with. Then obviously the question of Hong Kong arises, and I mean the fundamental law and the abuses in Hong Kong and the upsetting of the normal existence of Hong Kong as it did over the years is a very retrograde step. And one, of course, when you think of what's happened in recent years in Hong Kong, the question and the fear arises that this would extend itself to Taiwan next. We have to be unambiguous in our pursuit of human rights, and we have to do it at UN level, we have to do it at EU level. I don't think that we can take unilateral action beyond that that will have any impact, number one, and of any I mean, there would be people who would argue, and unfortunately I was caught elsewhere, and I missed some of the contributions earlier, and I have no doubt that somebody has already suggested, and it may be coming if that happened, or a number of people, that we should break off all trading relationships, that we should break off all forms of contact, commercially and otherwise. I don't support that thesis, but I do support the thesis that we should be unambiguous and clear, and that we should put our position clearly within the EU, within the UN Assembly that we have the presidency of now. And obviously, although it's not a relevant forum, strictly speaking, as it's focused on Europe, but also within the Council of Europe. So thanks for the opportunity, Laska Hura, and congratulations to the movers of this very important motion.
Thank you, Senator.